Now we'll work out comprehensive question, that is you have to do all three, trading, P&L or profit and loss, and the balance sheet. This chapter is actually easy. It is lengthy and you might make careless mistakes, but other than that chapter is very easy. You just have to pick up the items from the question and write it in your format. That's the only thing you need to do. Illustration 22 given on page number 18.40. From the following trial balance, prepare trading P&L and the balance sheet. So a trial balance is given to you. At the end of the trial balance, did you see one question, one sentence? On 31st March 2020, the stock was valued at rupees 1 lakh. That means it is the closing stock. Always closing stock will be given below the trial balance. And it is having two effects. Once it should come on the credit side of trading. By closing stock we have to write. Again, where will you write it? The same you have to write it on the asset side of the balance sheet as closing stock. Okay, that's the current asset. So that's how you have to do. We will start with trading account. Now what we are going to do is not simply trading account. It is trading and profit and loss account. The combined account is what you have to do now. So give the heading trading and profit and loss account or P&L account. Account you can write A/C or the full term also, but this is enough. For the year ended 31st March 2020. The headings are needed. Headings are compulsory. Then particulars, amount, particulars, amount. We will start with opening stock. So opening stock is given, stock on 1st April, no? So that you write. With that we will start to opening stock 50,050. Then with the next item we usually write as purchases. So you just see whether purchases figure is given. It would be given. You have to see whether returns also there. Here we don't have any returns. So you just write 2 purchases. Figure in the outer column you can write 1 lakh. Then all direct expenses we have to write now. You have to go through each and every item. Otherwise you will miss out item. See, finally if your balance sheet does not tally, meaning is you made mistake somewhere in your accounts, but it's difficult for you to identify the mistakes. You will have to recheck all these, you will have to do calculations again. You won't get time for all these for the exam. Okay, because once you prepare itself, that time itself you will take so much time because it's lengthy. Again, if you plan to recheck, that won't be possible. Recheck means the mistake. If you want to just add and check whether the answer is correct, that you can do. But other than that, you can't find where the mistake is. It's difficult. So first itself, just go through each and every item. Don't miss out any item. So land and building, cash in hand, cash at bank. Then you have wages. So that is trading. That is direct. Bills receivable. Where will you write that? It's asset. Interest. Nothing mentioned. What did I tell you? It is paid. It's an expense, but it is indirect. Okay. Then bad debts, that is a loss, it's indirect. Repairs again indirect. Furniture and fixtures, asset, fixed asset. Depreciation, indirect. Rent, nothing mentioned, means it's paid, it's indirect. And it is coming under debit balance. Did you see? All these are written under debit balance. That means all these would be either expense or asset, or it can be loss like bad debts also, because we know that assets, expenses, losses will be having debit balance. Salary, indirect. Drawings, it will come as deduction from capital in the balance sheet. Purchases we wrote. Office expenses, indirect. It's not factory expenses, it is office. So it is indirect. Plant and machinery, asset. Then capital, credit balance we have. Now for the time being, if you want, you can write against each item, like sundry debtors, the first item, you just write with your pencil in the question itself, balance sheet, BS you write. That means it will appear only in the balance sheet. Likewise, if you want, you can write, but don't do the same for the exam, because we are not supposed to write anything on the question paper. So don't make it as a practice. For first question, if you want to identify items easily, you can do like that, only for this. Don't do it for the exam. Then interest, nothing is mentioned, but it's given under credit balance, means it's an income. So it is interest received. Then creditors, liability, sales, we have to write here on the credit side. Bills payable also liability. Okay. So we don't have any other direct expense, we just have wages to be written. So you write that wages. 30,000. Then we'll write on the credit side buy sales and buy closing stock. Closing stock value is given after the trial balance. Sales figure is 1,70,000. Look into your credit balances. It is 1,70,000 and the closing stock figure is 1 lakh. Finished? Yes, it is over. The trading account is over because we don't have any direct expense, we have only wages. So now you find the balance, the difference you will get as 90,000 shortages on the debit side. So you write it as to gross profit carry down. Then you write the totals. Don't close the account now. Totals must come on the same line as usual. Then don't close the account because we need to move on to P&L. It's just a continuation of trading account. So you don't have to draw line and close the account. With this format itself, you can start P&L account, write it as buy gross profit brought down. You can take this 90,000 to the opposite side. So from here onwards, we are starting the P&L. So all indirect expense on debit side, indirect incomes on the credit side. So look into the debit balance is given. Interest, that's the first item you have to write because all other items are assets given. So to interest, that's a paid amount you are writing, the debit balance amount, the other is received. This is 2,000. Then to bad debts, you have to move in that order which is given in the question, or else you will miss out items. To bad debts 5,000. Then to repairs, all these are indirect expenses. So direct expense examples you must learn. So automatically others would be indirect. Then to furniture and fixtures, don't write, it is an asset. It's only in the balance sheet you need to write. To depreciation. $10,000. Then to rent. Then salary. 8,000, 20,000. Drawings don't take here. It's in the balance sheet. You have to less from capital. Purchases already we recorded in trading. Then office expenses. 25,000. Plant and machinery is an asset. Then credit balances, anyways it will not appear on the debit side. Then any credit incomes or any incomes you see on the credit balances. Interest is an income here. It's written on the credit balance, no. So it's an income. So write it on the credit side by interest. Debit balance means it is expense. So 6,000 must come on the credit side. Then all others are liabilities. Sales we already wrote in trading. So your P&L is also over. Find the balance. When you find the balance of P&L, from where will you start adding? You have to start with this gross profit. From there onwards, it is P&L account. So credit side it will be 96,000. Debit side you have to start with interest. I mean from here onwards you have to add. Don't take this total. Okay. So you add your debits and credit sides. It is a net profit. Sometimes you can get a net loss also. So it is a net profit here. Net profit here is 23,000. So shortage on the debit side. To net profit, what I have to write is, how did we write the previous question? Transfer to capital account. The amount is 23,000. So P&L is over now. You can double line totals. Both sides it must be written on the same line. Now we can close this trading and profit and loss account. The total now is 96,000. So trading and profit and loss account is over. We have to move on to balance sheet. So give the heading balance sheet as at 31st March 2020. Okay, so we have to follow either the order of permanence or the order of liquidity. It's up to you which order you need to choose between this. I am comfortable with order of permanence, so I will be doing problems in the order of permanence. But if the question asks you to follow any particular order, if they specify that, you have to follow that particular order itself. Or else either of these two you can do. So I will be doing in the order of permanence. So we will start with non-current liabilities and non-current assets. So capital, credit balance, it's given now 2,50,000. So 2,50,000. Then add net profit. With this we have to add net profit. So always write capital figure in the inner column. Net profit figure, from where will you take? It's from your P&L, profit and loss. The balancing figure, did you see 23,000? Add that. Less drawings, it's given in your question. It's given inside the trial balance 20,000. Outer column you can write the amount 1,10,000. Sorry, not 1,10,000, it's 2,53,000. While you do calculations and write the answer. Okay, then next one what we can write is, you have to see all liabilities. So liabilities, here it is easy. They have separated debit and credit balances. So should we look into debit balances? No need, because liabilities will be having only credit balance. You just look into the credit balances given. Capital we wrote. Interest already we wrote in P&L, creditors is there, bills payable is there. So next we can write sundry creditors and bills payable, and these are current liabilities. So now we followed the order of permanence. First we wrote non-current liabilities, then we wrote current liabilities. So sundry creditors 70,000, bills payable 40,000. See, in your textbook they have separated sections like non-current liabilities, then current liabilities and all. You don't have to do separation like that, but you must follow either of these two orders. Okay. So fixed assets or fixed liabilities I have written first, since it is order of permanence, then the current liabilities. No need to write the heading like current liabilities and all. Then on the asset side we will start with fixed assets, because I am following order of permanence. The textbook they have followed liquidity order. So fixed assets you just take from your debit balances. See the fixed assets given. The first one there is land and building. Move in that order itself, so that you won't miss out any item. Land and building, the amount is 1 lakh. Then, which is the next fixed asset, furniture and fixtures 15,000. Then plant and machinery 57,000. Okay, so these are the fixed assets given in the question. No need of any heading like fixed assets, but you have to write fixed assets first. There is no problem if you interchange the order between fixed assets. If you want, you write furniture and fixtures first, then you write plant and machinery, then you write land and building. No problem. But fixed assets must be written first. Plant and machinery 57. Okay, we wrote that. Now we will move on to current assets. Current assets given there is you can write closing stock first. Closing stock, don't forget to write on the asset side because it would not be appearing inside the trial balance. It will come after the trial balance. Did you see that 1 lakh figure given? So don't forget to write that item. Then we can write the debtors given, first item given 15,000. So all these are current assets. Then bills receivable we can write cash in hand and at back we can write at last. So you write all other current assets before that. Then cash in hand and cash at bank, isn't it? Yes, cash at bank is 40. And cash in hand we can write at last, it's the most liquid asset. Cash in hand is 16,000. So with this balance sheet is over. Just add and see whether it tally. Tally means both sides you must get the same answer. Here the answer is 3,63,000. So this is how you have to do a comprehensive question. It's easy, but be very careful, don't make any kind of careless mistakes. In case, suppose you forgot to write closing stock, that will be the usual item because it's not given inside the trial balance. So you forgot to record closing stock, suppose. Finally, you identified that balance sheet is not tallying, so you found a mistake. Closing stock you identified, you understood it's not recorded. So in that case, you need not cut the entire balance sheet, you need not rewrite, just write closing stock as the final item in case if you forget. Understood? So what you have to do is, if you want to get full marks, actually you should write in that order itself. So go through each and every item, don't miss out any item.